How's it going, everyone? This is Daniel, and in this video we're going to be talking about Tesla stock. We're going to go over and look at exactly what to expect for Tesla for next week. We have some important economic data that is related to inflation be announced next week. We also have big tech companies like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft. All of them are going to be announcing their earnings next week, so it's going to be action-packed. So we're going to be talking about exactly what to expect with the overall stock market and also with these stocks too. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to cover all this important information in this video coming up. As you can see over here, we have Tesla stock today that is only down 0.37%. At the majority of the day, as you can see, Tesla stock was actually green and it was fighting to close green on the day. But the overall stock market, when you look at it, 90%, more than 90% of the stocks are trending to the downside today. As you can see, as I mentioned, we have this big tech companies announcing earnings next week like Google, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. They're going to be announcing their earnings calls next week, and as you can see, ahead of those earnings, they are trending to the downside. So this is mainly because of what the Fed said this week. Fed Chair Jerome Powell stated that the economy is strong, and that basically indicates that they could be a little bit aggressive when it comes to fighting inflation on their next interest rates hikes coming out pretty soon. And during their next FOMC meeting, if they say that they're going to be increasing interest rates a little bit higher than expected, we can definitely see some volatility with the overall stock market. But as you can see, Tesla is showing a relative strength compared to other stocks, and that is pretty good. So now let's talk about what to expect for next week. This is going to be an action-packed week next week, as you can see over here. Now let's go over and look at exactly when these big tech companies are going to be announcing their earnings calls. So we have Microsoft and Apple, which is going to be announcing their earnings on Tuesday after the market close. And we have Facebook, that's going to be announcing their earnings on Wednesday. And we have Apple and Amazon, which is going to be announcing their earnings call on Thursday. So literally like every other day, we have a big tech company announcing their earnings, and that could significantly affect how the overall stock market is going to be behaving the next day. So we also have another important economic data coming out, which is the Personal Consumer Expenditures Index, which is an important indicator of what the Fed is looking at when it comes to measuring inflation. So this is going to be announced on Friday before the market opens. So this is also going to be another important economic data and an event to watch out for next week. So it's definitely action packed for next week. But however, we still have some important announcements, some important news come out for Tesla next week. So let's not forget, Tesla earnings was phenomenal. The delivery numbers were also phenomenal, and we expect analysts to come out and state that they're going to be increasing their price targets or changing their ratings for the stock, and that can definitely help Tesla stock to go higher. So for example, today we have Deutsche Bank analyst Emmanuel raised his price target from 1,200 to 1,250 for Tesla stock and maintained his buy ratings for this electric vehicle company. So this is going to be expected also next week. So we expect price target hikes, price target changes, buy ratings changes, like any kind of change that these analysts are going to be announced can positively affect Tesla stock, because those numbers that they announced on their earnings call was phenomenal. So that is going to be another important thing to watch out for next week. So another example is we can get analysts come out and talk about, what are their expectations for Tesla stock, how the company can perform in the near future, how they can potentially grow, and they can provide a detailed breakdown of how they see a massive potential for Tesla stock. Like for example, we're going to be watching a video about an analyst talking about what his expectation is when it comes to Tesla stock after the earnings. So we're going to check out the video, and then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to be talking about exactly, what to expect for Tesla stock.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me on. And, the more bears, the better. I think we like positions that are complex and tricky to figure out from a valuation perspective. So everything that we heard last night in the call really confirms a lot of the analysis that went into that 91-page report, which obviously I can't get into all 91 pages today, but just the highlight reel, which is we expect 50% compounded growth over the next several years. We expect expanding margins. And we really think that this is very early on in the Tesla story, really only in the first or second inning.
Yeah, so Eric, I'm curious, what do you think of this disconnect between sort of your traditional Wall Street analysts who have been behind this trade for many years and yourself and the ARKs of the world that are, looking to the future? Why do you think that Wall Street isn't, counting the idea of robo-taxis, which Elon Musk said last night, is going to be cheaper per mile than a subsidized bus ticket? Is there just a disbelief that he can actually do it?
Yeah, so I think in general, what I would say is that we consider ourselves outsiders, which really, I think, gives us an advantage. What we've seen historically is on Wall Street, a relatively superficial level of research. I think Wall Street tends to go pretty wide, and our advantage comes on going deep. And so when we own a position, and we want to own positions really for the long term, we need to go super deep into the analysis to find a variant perspective that ultimately is differentiating from Wall Street's perspective. And we love to find these scenarios. I mean, we love to find scenarios where there is a really wide dispersion between our belief of the future and the growth and consensus expectations. And the wider that dispersion, the more arbitrage exists for us to exploit as long-term investors.
Eric, I wonder if you're surprised at, I would argue, maybe the lack of Musk copycats, people who are stealing pages from his playbook, either from a production standpoint or a capital raise standpoint or a marketing, a troll, even Twitter troll standpoint. And if there are some, who would you look to first?
Yeah, I think that what I found shocking, so a colleague and I went down a couple of weeks ago to Austin, Texas to take a look at the new factory, which is a pretty incredible facility. And one of the more shocking elements to me was not just the scale and some of the core engineering and innovation that's happening there, is that they simply opened it up for everyone to see. And I thought that was such a move of confidence to show some of the most profound, groundbreaking, cutting edge manufacturing techniques. And Tesla just invited the public in to see it. And I think that speaks to the confidence and the maturity of this business. And ultimately, that factory combined with Giga Berlin, Giga Shanghai, and the expansion of Fremont, we're very early in this growth curve from our perspective.
Right. I also think it's interesting, he gets knocked around a bit for past projections or forecasts that maybe were late, right? Obviously, his robo-taxi prediction is still late. But I wonder if you think at least the street is coming around to the idea that, all right, maybe the date that he gives on a certain target is questionable, but he's going to get it done eventually.
Yeah, to be clear, from our research, we do believe that Tesla will achieve an autonomous robo-taxi network. I think one of the core mistakes that many investors seem to make from my perspective is they disbelieve Elon. And I think that this is an individual who has really cultivated a culture of innovation that exists in all of his firms, not just Tesla, but we see it at SpaceX as well. And so, frankly, when we just go back to our valuation, again, this is all our analysis, our opinion, not financial advice. Our 10x by 2030 valuation assumptions do not include robotaxi, and they also do not include other real-world AI products.
Now let's look at exactly, what kind of price action that we are expecting for Tesla stock for next week. Before we talk about it, of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notification bell, and if you want free stocks too, check out the links in description box below. So as you can see over here, we have Tesla stock that is holding strong. This $1,000 level is definitely acting as a very strong support. But next week, we have a lot of important economic data and also earnings coming out for this big, multi-trillion-dollar companies. So this is going to be very, very interesting as we head into next week. So expect volatility across the board for Tesla stock. If it can stay above this $1,000 level, it's great. And if it breaks below that too, we can take that because a lot of people are actually wanting to buy Tesla stock at any price point level. So if we break down this $1,000 level, I don't think we're going to go below, $950 or even go to $800. I think we're going to hold strong between $1,000 to $950 if we break down. And if the overall market is trending positively and we have this exponential or fantastic earnings that's being announced by these big tech companies, this can definitely help Tesla stock too and the overall stock market at the same time too. So it's definitely going to be an action-packed week next week. So just keep an eye on it. If you want to buy Tesla stock, if it dips, that's a great opportunity. There could be an opportunity for you to actually get a discount on Tesla. And if you're just a long-term investor too, just keep an eye on Tesla and wait for, this analyst price updates, price hikes, and etc. to come out for next week. So that's going to be for this video. If you're new to this channel, of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notification bell, and of course, if you want free stocks too, check out the links in the description box below. But I catch you guys on another video. Have a wonderful day.